Hi, my name is Brandon Keene, and this is a quick demo of WMB Radar, WMB Weatherman brand. And so I decided to use South Florida Miami radar to show some of the features here, since there is some active weather going on down there at the moment. So currently the radar application has three products: reflectivity, velocity, and storm relative velocity. So our velocity and our storm relative velocity. So the storm relative velocity is essentially just taking the storm motion vector from the storm relative velocity product on the AWS bucket and then just applying it to the high resolution velocity product, as opposed to using the lower resolution. So this is level 2 data as well, so we have multiple tilts here beyond just the level 3 data. Then we have our site selector here, which can be done in two different ways. One, by selecting the map here, these icons, by toggling this right here at the top right corner of the screen. We see that radar sites that are actually down, such as Melbourne, over here near Valdosta. These sites in red are sites that are actually down at the moment. We also can see the health status indicator, so if I were to click on Melbourne, we see a red dot and the radar site is down. So let's go ahead and switch that back to the Miami radar. And oops, what is this? Okay. So here's the drop down menu for the radar sites. And we can see the health status indicator of each radar site is next to the respective radar site. And we also have some options here to filter and sort based on the user preference. So another feature here that we have is cross sections, which I built in towards the very end of developing here. So go ahead and draw and drag from point A to point B, and you should get a cross section of the storm itself. Here's our freezing level here in yellow, and then our minus 20 Celsius level here, and this is actually coming from model data, so put that on there. This is pretty much inspired from Gibson Ridge Analyst 2, and so this is kind of where I got the idea to create this from. I also included 3D volumetric scans, which was also something I built towards the tail end of developing this whole application. So again, drag, and let's go ahead and tilt a little bit further, and we should get a three-dimensional image here. Adjust the alpha, and so seeing three-dimensional structure of the storm. So I had some fun with it and developed some of these features. I just wanted to show that. Oops. So these two features still need some work, especially the rendering of the radar pixels here for the 3D volumetric scans to try and get things to show better the shading and stuff of the DBZ values. So another feature now includes an inspector. So this is pretty typical or expected. Dragging the cursor across will give you the DBZ values or the velocity values, depending on what product you're viewing. I also went ahead and included the ability to pin inspectors. So if you want to look at multiple locations, you can actually pin an inspector, and then if you were to play the animation, it would just continue to update these values. So if you want to have a specific value for a specific location, say, you can monitor multiple areas at once and what values are being received. So let me go ahead and clear those. So next is a distance tool, pretty standard, right? Point A to point B gives you the distance, and then you can change that. The units are in miles, but you can change it kilometers, meters in the settings panel. So another feature here is the forecast mode, which then turns the cursor into a crosshair, and this allows the user to select a location to get a forecast, and this is actually pulling from the NWS API. So let's go ahead and click here. Pops up a card. So here we go in Leisure City, Florida. This is from forecast by the National Weather Service in Miami. The current conditions, 80 degrees, light drizzle. And then here's the forecast from the National Weather Service from their API, along with the images that the National Weather Service uses with their API. And so we see here our highs and lows, and so on. So also is the zone forecast. So this is for metropolitan Miami-Dade. So our zone forecast, and then our graphical data, which is what's also found on the National Weather Service's website. So go ahead and pull that from the API and then chart it here, and dragging the mouse cursor across the charts will go ahead and give you the values for that given timestamp. So you can also adjust the window. So let's say I want to say just the full window. So here's the full period of time. So from May 5th through after May 11th. You can see temperature, dew point, all these other variables here. Chance of rain, chance of thunder, and so on. Or you can view it in a table. Again, this is pretty similar to what the National Weather Service offices already have on their websites. So I went ahead and just incorporated that into this card. Your area of forecast discussions, you can see here, with the most recent one being first, we see AFD 3636. If we were to go backwards, we're going to the second most recent, third most recent, and so on. So here, this is the forecast discussion from the National Weather Service office. Hazardous Weather Outlooks, well, there's none. And then I also included a stream from various websites that have NOAA Weather Radio. I'm assuming this area doesn't have one that is active on the websites used, since there is no official NOAA Weather Radio source to pull that from. And then this home icon here shows us the forecasting office, the location, phone number, all that kind of information, as well as their headlines. And again, all of this information is coming from the National Weather Service API. So I'm actually pulling that information into the application. So let me turn forecast mode off. Now let's go into settings real quick. I have a few other things to show you. METAR observations. So this is from Iowa Mesonet. And it should load in here in just a second. Oops, sorry about that. I actually realized that I have the radar sites showing on the map, so let me turn that off. Okay. So here are the METAR stations from Iowa Mesonet. And again, all of this data from the METAR is pulled in and decoded and then graphically put in a station model showing the temperature, the dew point, and the pressure. And actually a lot of these stations here, I'm actually using the altimeter value, which the new app version will only show this here if the station gives sea level pressure, with the option to turn on the altimeter as the pressure, but that would be up to the user in the settings panel. So here we see all the different METAR stations, different surface observations right now, and these update automatically and re-render when new data becomes available. So let's go ahead and just have a look at one. It should pop up a card, and we see, so here's Homestead Air Force or Air Reserve Base. Here's the raw METAR, and then from that it is decoded. So our sky conditions, our temperature, our wind pressure, the weather, light drizzle right now, flight category, and then some of the remarks here at the end of the METAR. I went ahead and have built into the application to decode some of those as well. Heat index is actually, I added this in here, so trying to give a little more insight using the proper algorithms to calculate heat index, wind chill, stuff like that when it's applicable. So that is the METAR observation feature part of the application, and then there's also the National Weather Service alerts. So I'll go ahead and turn off the METAR observations to not clutter the screen up. And let's turn on NWS alerts. And so we should receive polygons across the country where there are National Weather Service alerts. Again, this is from another NOAA API, and the coloring of everything is respecting that of the National Weather Service. So all of the colors and shadings of the polygons that are shown here correspond directly to that of the National Weather Service and the official NOAA. Let me make sure that I don't have anything filtered here. Okay, everything's on. So here are our National Weather Service alerts. And then by clicking on that alert, we'll go ahead and pull up that exact information that has been issued by that National Weather Service office. So here, National Weather Service Lincoln, Illinois. And this is a dust storm warning. And then all the information. Oh, there goes the rest of everything loading in. Okay. So there we go, across the whole country. As well as marine, small craft advisory, right? So, and again, this will update automatically as updates or as the hazards are dropped or they are continued or advised initially. So I also have it where there's no overlapping of the hazardous advisories. So let's say that an advisory is issued and then it is recontinued and extended out further. It doesn't re-render over itself. It just updates the card and leaves the polygon present to where it is. So just a little more thought put into it. So yep, there we go. And one last thing, and let me go ahead and turn off these polygons. Okay. So there's also a DBZ filter. Oh, I also didn't show the bilinear smoothing of radar pixels. So you can turn bilinear smoothing on and off if you want. Control S on the keyboard. And then the multiple color palettes. Move my recording tool, there we go. So we have multiple color palettes here you can select, and it will re-render radar pixels using that specific color palette, so NWS expanded. And then there's also a feature that allows sync filter to palette. So what's happening here now is there's a DBZ filter if you want to filter out lower DBZ values to get rid of some of the clutter and just show where it's raining or whatnot. You can go ahead and do that. Or you can sync the DBZ filter to the specific palette. So some of these color palettes have different DBZ ranges. For example, I want to say it's this one here, okay, filter sync -15, weather underground, there we go, 10 to 80 DBZ. So getting rid of some of those lower DBZ values. And so this just automatically will sync the radar data to that color palette's range of DBZ values. Or if let's say you want to go ahead and specify the DBZ values you want to see, then you can go ahead and turn that off. Enable DBZ filter here. Let's go back to NWS Storm. Okay, and if I want to go ahead and filter out, you can either type in the value or drag these sliders here and go ahead and get rid of. You can see the DBZ value disappearing now. So let's go ahead and just put it to like 40. there's no exact 40, I guess. Okay, so there's no exact 40 dBz. So let me go ahead, let's just say between 10 and or you know what, make it more obvious. So 35 to 50 dBz, and so that's all that's rendering now on the screen is that amount. So again, change the color palette, and the dBz filter is respected across whatever color palette you choose now. And go ahead and just reset it, and so there we go. And I believe that is about it, besides some of the different ability to change units in the METAR cards, and more of the user preference stuff and not really the main features. But I think I've covered everything here, and thank you for watching.